In the future, humans have become so advanced that they can travel at the speed of light. Because of this, they've spread across the universe and now live on many planets, along with different alien species. The story begins on one such planet, a dry, empty world that's very close to its sun. Because of the extreme heat during the day, people stay inside and sleep, only coming out at night when it's cooler. Water is very rare on this planet, and it's more valuable than anything else. If someone is caught stealing water, they are locked in a metal container and left outside. The sunlight is so strong that most of them die within a day. One night, a man named Snow is walking across the desert. He reaches a large machine, then heads into the nearby city. As he walks through, he passes several containers where people are locked up, punished for stealing water. Snow keeps walking and soon arrives at a courier shop. He asks the alien shopkeeper for a package he ordered from Earth. The alien gives him a box and tells him to bring 2 more kilograms of the same item next month. Later, Snow goes to a bar to have a drink. While he's drinking his beer, 3 bounty hunters walk in. They come up to him and say they've been sent to capture him. Snow asks why. One of them, a woman, says their boss, Barris, wants to take him in. She tells Snow to come quietly. When he refuses, she challenges him. Either fight her or go without a fight. Snow doesn't move. He stays seated. The woman pulls out a gun to shoot him, but Snow is faster. He shoots her first, then quickly takes down the second bounty hunter. The third one manages to shoot Snow in the hand, badly injuring him. As the hunter moves closer to finish him off, a girl suddenly appears and shoots the hunter from behind, saving Snow's life. Snow stands up slowly, wraps his injured hand, nods to the girl to thank her, and quietly walks away into the night. After Snow leaves the bar, he walks through the quiet night, his injured hand wrapped in cloth, but he's not alone. In the shadows of the bar, a few other strange-looking creatures had also been watching him, bounty hunters hiding in plain sight, waiting for their turn. Snow knew he had to keep moving. As he travels farther from the city, he stumbles upon the massive skeleton of a creature, its bones bleached by the sun and wind. Snow sits down beside it and starts a small fire. He begins cooking some meat, likely taken from the same animal before it died. The air is still and quiet, but just as he's about to eat, he sees a figure approaching in the distance. It's the same girl who saved him earlier. Snow's calm face tightens into a frown. He stands up sharply, his eyes filled with suspicion. As she comes closer, Snow asks, "Why are you following me?" The girl stops a few steps away and says, "My name is Harald. I want to travel with you." Snow doesn't answer right away. He stares at her for a few seconds, then says simply, "I'll think about it." Before they can speak more, the sky begins to change. The first rays of the sun start to rise on the horizon. On this planet, that means it's time to hide. The heat would soon become deadly. Snow quickly sets up a small tent made of reflective material to block the sun's heat. He gestures for Harald to come inside. She hesitates, then enters. For now, she's welcome. Inside the tent, the world outside grows brighter and hotter, but it's cool and quiet inside. Even the birds here are strange, creatures that only fly and hunt at night, now curling into nests, sleeping through the sun-filled hours. As Harald settles in, she notices something strange. Snow's injured hand, the one that was blasted by the bounty hunter, is no longer bleeding. In fact, it's slowly healing on its own. Flesh is regrowing, nerves reconnecting. Harald stares in shock, but Snow notices her looking and simply turns away, saying nothing. Eventually, they both lie down and rest. What Harald doesn't know yet is that Snow is not an ordinary man. Inside his body is a rare and powerful ability. His reproductive system produces a unique hormone, one that spreads through his entire body. This hormone keeps every cell young and alive. If a part of his body is injured, it heals. If something is cut off, it grows back. He never gets sick, never truly ages. He has lived for hundreds of years. But this secret has become a curse. Many across the universe know what he is. They want to capture him, not for who he is, but for what's inside him. If someone could extract that hormone, they could sell it to the highest bidder. The rich and powerful would pay anything for immortality. As night falls again, Snow and Harald continue their journey through the desert. During their walk, Snow turns to her and says, "If you're going to travel with me, you deserve to know why people are after me." But before he can explain, Harald quietly says, "I already know." Snow stops walking, surprised. Harald looks at him and reveals, "Your body produces a rare hormone that makes all your cells regenerate. That's why you can't die. You're immortal." Snow's eyes narrow. "How do you know that?" She answers calmly, "I'm an officer from Earth Central Intelligence. We've been searching for you. They want to study you, but they won't hurt you. I want you to come with me peacefully." Snow frowns. Earth Central Intelligence is run by AI. Why would they care about helping humans? reasons, Harald replies. They want to improve humanity, to make people stronger, smarter, maybe even immortal. That's why your ability must be protected by the government. But Snow shakes his head. I'm not a lab experiment. If that's your mission, you should leave. They travel in silence for the next 2 nights until they reach a hidden spot in the desert. Snow pushes a large stone aside, revealing a secret entrance. Inside is a lift that takes them deep underground, into Snow's hidden home. As they arrive, Snow explains, I found this place 200 years ago. I've been building and improving it ever since. The underground home is peaceful, with no heat and no shortage of water. A small pond glows softly in the corner. He tells Harald she can freshen up if she'd like. While she bathes, Snow sits quietly, watching the last light of the setting sun. He opens the small box he picked up earlier. Inside are fresh strawberries brought from Earth. As he eats one, memories flood back to him. Harald returns, dressed in an elegant gown and jewelry. Whose dress is this? She asks. Snow replies quietly, it was my wife's. She passed away 123 years ago. Harald gently asks, why? He sighs. She couldn't handle it anymore. I wasn't aging, and she was. She felt left behind. Eventually, she took her own life. Sadness fills the room. Harald sits beside him, silently offering comfort. Slowly, they grow closer, drawn together by shared loneliness, in a connection neither expected. Later that night, Harald suddenly wakes up, sensing something is wrong. She steps out of the tent and sees lights in the sky, a ship landing nearby. It's Barris and his gang. Somehow, they've tracked down Snow's hidden home. Down below, Barris's men begin searching the area. They're armed and alert, looking for Snow. But Snow moves through the shadows like a ghost. One by one, he silently takes them out. But then, one of the attackers, a large, strong man from Barris's crew, catches Snow off guard. He shoots Snow at close range, and the impact throws him to the ground, bleeding and badly injured. Standing over him, the man growls, the woman you killed back in the bar, she was my wife. He raises his weapon to finish Snow off, but before he can shoot, a bullet hits him from behind. Harald fires just in time, saving Snow. The man falls. Then in a flash, another shot rings out. Harald's head jerks. She drops to the ground. Her body stills. Snow turns his head, horrified. Barris himself steps out of the shadows, gun still smoking. You killed my people. I'll make sure you suffer, he says coldly. I'm going to rip your reproductive system out and sell it. Immortality belongs to those who can afford it. As he raises his blade to strike, a blur moves behind him. A hand slices through his body like a blade. Barris gasps, eyes wide, and collapses, dead. Snow, weak and barely conscious, looks up. Standing over him is someone familiar. It's Harald, but not as she was before. Her face is torn, revealing one side human and the other made of steel. Her eye glows faintly, and her body moves with unnatural precision. She's a cyborg, part human, part machine. When Snow wakes again, his wounds already beginning to heal, he stares at her in shock. Harald kneels beside him and says gently, I'm still human, Snow. I still feel. She explains, years ago, I was in an accident. My body was destroyed. ECI saved me, but at a price. They rebuilt me using machines. My spine, my limbs, even part of my heart. But my mind, my thoughts, my emotions, they're still mine. She looks down, her voice quieter. I've lived for centuries too, always alone, watching the world change while I stayed the same. I wasn't just looking for you. I was looking for someone who'd understand. Snow reaches out and takes her hand. I understand. In the silence that follows, nothing more is said. They don't need words. Two immortals, one by nature, one by design, finally finding peace in each other. And so they begin a new chapter, no longer alone. This episode ends with the two of them watching the stars rise above the desert sky. The next episode opens with a scene from the past. A man named Steve is sitting alone in a quiet train coach. It's around 12:30 at night. The train slowly moves through tall, grassy fields under the moonlight. As it rolls along, the conductor briefly glances into Steve's coach from the outside, then moves on. Steve is just about to lie down and sleep when the steam engine suddenly hisses and comes to a stop. Curious, he steps out of his compartment. Most passengers are asleep, and the train feels strangely still. He steps off the train, puzzled. Why have we stopped here? He mutters to himself. Just then, he spots something shiny in the tall grass nearby and begins to walk toward it. But before he gets too far, the conductor reappears and firmly stops him. Don't go out there. Please return to your seat. Steve asks, why did the train stop? The conductor replies calmly, just a short break, 2 minutes. Once the engine builds enough steam, we'll continue. As the conductor turns to leave, Steve says, I'll just step out and smoke for a minute. The conductor pauses, then nods. All right, but I'll call out for you twice. If you're not back by then, the train will leave without you. Then he walks away into the night. Steve lights a cigarette and stands alone in the dark beside the tracks. The quiet night, broken only by the faint hiss of the steam engine. As he exhales, his eyes catch a faint glow in the tall grass ahead. Curious, he walks toward it. The light keeps moving, drifting deeper into the field, just out of reach, pulling him further and further away from the train. Eventually, the glowing thing stops in one spot and vanishes without a trace. Just then, the conductor's voice echoes in the night, calling out that the train is about to depart. Steve turns to head back, but as he moves, a shadowy figure suddenly crosses in front of him. Startled, he stumbles back, heart racing. He quickly tries to retrace his steps, but it's too late. The train is no longer visible. He's surrounded by towering grass in every direction, completely lost. Panic sets in. He shouts for the conductor, but there's no answer. The conductor calls again, a second and final warning. Steve starts running toward the voice, but no matter how far or fast he goes, the train never comes into view. His breath quickens. The air feels heavier. The silence around him deepens. And then, from somewhere ahead, he hears a low growl. He freezes. The glowing light appears once more, just beyond a thick patch of grass. Slowly, he parts the grass to look. What he sees makes his blood run cold. A massive creature rising from beneath the ground, its body twisted and alien, its howl piercing the night. "Oh my God," Steve whispers, backing away in horror. The creature turns its glowing eyes toward him. Steve bolts, running as fast as he can, but the glowing lights are everywhere now. More creatures emerge from the dark, surrounding him. He dives down and crawls through the grass, trying to move silently to escape. But the creatures begin to close in, hunting him from all sides. Steve somehow breaks free and stumbles through the thick grass, desperate to escape. But just as he catches his breath, the ground beneath him collapses. He falls hard into a deep pit, his glasses flying off. Everything turns into a blur. He scrambles around in the dirt, searching in panic until he finally finds them. But when he puts them on again, what he sees is far worse than before. A massive, different creature is rising from the earth below. Smaller creatures, the same ones that chased him, sit silently on its back like parasites. Steve gasps and starts climbing the pit's far wall, using roots and rocks to pull himself up. Around him, scattered across the ground, are human bones, dozens of skeletons, those who were trapped here before him, those who didn't survive. Suddenly, the giant creature grabs Steve's leg and lets out a roar, so loud it shakes the air. Its jaw stretches open, filled with long, sharp teeth. In terror, Steve grabs a nearby bone and slams it into the creature's face, forcing it to let go. More creatures swarm in from the shadows. Steve fights them off desperately, swinging wildly with whatever he can find until he manages to climb out of the pit. Through the thick grass, he spots the train, still moving, about to leave. Hope returns to his eyes. He sprints toward it, shouting for help. But just as he's about to reach it, one of the creatures lunges from behind and grabs him. As it prepares to strike, another creature suddenly tackles it. The two monsters begin fighting each other for the chance to hunt him. Steve uses the chaos to run again, pushing through the grass. But more creatures emerge. One grabs his leg and drags him back down. Others begin closing in, dozens of them. He struggles, screams, kicks, but they surround him. Then suddenly, a red light cuts through the darkness. It's the conductor, holding a massive torch blazing with fire. He runs toward them, swinging the torch. The creatures hiss and scream, retreating in fear. Firelight dances across their twisted forms. The conductor throws flames into the crowd, forcing them to scatter. They vanish into the grass, afraid of the one thing that can harm them. The conductor grabs Steve and pulls him to his feet. "Come on!" Together, they run through the field, racing after the still-moving train. They chase it with everything they've got. Finally, the conductor climbs aboard and stretches his hand back. Steve leaps, and the conductor pulls him up just in time. Breathless, trembling, Steve collapses inside the coach. "What were those things?" he asks. The conductor looks at the dark field behind them. "I don't know for sure, but I think they were once human. People who stepped off the train in the wrong place and never found their way back." Steve stares at him, stunned. "This has happened before?" "Many times," the conductor says quietly. "The train always stops in that field. It's like a door opens to another world, their world. And when that happens, something from the other side reaches in." He pauses, then adds, "But don't tell anyone about this. No one would believe you anyway." The conductor walks off down the train's aisle. Steve turns and looks out the window one last time. The glowing grass sways gently in the night breeze, peaceful, mysterious, hiding what lies beneath. And with that, the episode fades to black. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.